there's nothing like cracking that cellophane, pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. The Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
Hey, this is JR from Love and Death, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. The Bod Father, and as always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a huge privilege to welcome Mr. JR. He's the guitarist and vocals of Love and Death. Love and Death are set to release their new album, Perfectly Preserved, on Friday, February the 12th, and Love and Death will take the stage for the first time in 8 years that night as well for their live stream album release show. Also, the live stream album release show will have Lacey Sturm of Flyleaf, Keith Wallen of Breaking Benjamin, and Matty Mullins of Memphis Mayfire joining the band. Also, check out the band's first single in 8 years entitled Down, second single White Flag featuring Ryan Hayes, and their third single, which is out right now, called The Hunter, featuring Keith Wallen. So, JR, man, welcome to the show, and how stoked are you to have some music out finally for you guys?
Hey, man, thanks for having me. Man, it's exciting. Again, like you said, we haven't had done anything in about 8 years, since our last release. So we're all pretty excited and really excited to see that everyone else is excited as well about it. So.
What have you been up to, and how have you been doing during this pandemic, man? Other than just promoting and talking about the new Love and Death album, Perfectly Preserved. I mean, what have you been doing specifically to get by during this whole crazy ordeal?
Yeah, it's been crazy, man. I think everyone, we're all in the same boat right now, just trying to navigate through the chaos and everything going on. But, for me, really I've just been focusing on music, like with the new Love and Death stuff and my other band I'm a part of, Spoken. We are working on music too and working on a record and, just been trying to stay focused on what I do best, and even though we can't tour and stuff right now, thankfully we're able to do stuff, from home, like create music and whatnot. So yeah, just been doing that and, staying hopeful, that things will turn around in the future, we'll see what happens, but yeah.
Yeah. I see a lot of tours trying to kick back up and I'm like, wait a second, there's others being canceled. Why are these starting back up? Which I'm not knocking anybody. I like to see everybody out there as well, but it's still not safe as of right now. And that's sad to say. Yeah.
I think everyone's just, kind of in limbo, like seeing what's going to happen. I think they're trying to plan stuff and then just kind of sit and wait and see if things change before then. And if not, then I guess cancel, but,
oh, yeah.
But yeah, so it's just been, pretty crazy for, the entertainment industry as a whole, like just, especially for musicians and bands, I think the biggest thing for us is touring. So, when you take that away, it's kind of weird. I'm so used to being gone on tour all throughout the year, so being home so long, it's been interesting. It's been cool in a way, like being able to be home more with family and friends and whatnot. But, on the flip side, it's been odd, cause it'll be about 10 years in March, that I've been doing this. And so it's just been pretty trippy, how fast things turned around, last year and where we're at now. But yeah, hoping for the best to come. So we'll see what happens.
But did it ever cross your mind though that, hey, I'm going to have to do something else possibly that I'm so not accustomed to for the last 10 years that I may have to do something else Did that ever cross your mind? Because I feel for these roadies, man. They're and you guys as well, and everybody. I mean, they have basically got kicked in the nuts for all this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's definitely, been something I've thought about, because it's like, how long can some people, hang on to the music stuff with the way things are right now, like I have friends that, have had to, get jobs and whatnot until, things hopefully get back to normal. And, thankfully I'm in a situation where I haven't had to do that, but, you never know what'll happen. Maybe there's a point where I will end up having to, try to find a job and stuff. So, we'll see. Again, it's just kind of everyone is in this situation together, just trying to navigate it, and no one's really gone through something like this before, so it's pretty new to everyone. So, yeah.
So your guys' last album was Between Here and Lost. I'm thinking, like 8 years ago, from 2013, if I'm not mistaken. Was there any songs that didn't make that album that carried over to this new album possibly, or is this just all brand new stuff that you guys said, hey, let's just start brand new with everything?
This record is brand new everything. We for that first record, we had a couple of ideas that didn't make it, but again, I think there's obvious reasons why it didn't. And I think we had gone back and listened to some of it, but we were like, we knew we could do better, so we started writing, like 2014, is when we started writing again. And, we put one single out in 2016, Lo Lamento. And, but yeah, just over the years we've been writing stuff, and then in 2020, when everything went down with this pandemic and stuff, it freed everyone's schedules and times up to do this, so we started sifting through like all the song ideas we've had over the last 7 years at that point, and just, figuring out what's good, what to throw away, what to keep, kind of thing. And, so we ended up keeping about four or five songs, that we'd written over the years. And then we decided to write, like 4 or 5 new ones. And so, yeah, that was kind of the process and how this record happened. Just pretty much all new stuff. So,
were you guys nervous releasing this album right now, or no? You guys just want to get it out so that way we can have some new music from you guys?
Yeah, we had talked about, kind of the advantages and disadvantages of doing it right now, because it's like, on one hand, it's a gamble. It's like, you put out a record during everything going on right now and you can't tour it. So it's like, is it just something that's going to get swept under the rug, or what, And then we're also thinking too, we haven't been doing anything in like 8 years. So it's like, hopefully people still care, So yeah. There's just like a lot of unknowns, in doing it. But I think at the end of the day, it was like, we have this time, just be at home, not being able to do things, and we don't want to waste it. We want to use the time that we have to, be creative and do what we can and connect with fans and people, so, I think that was enough reason for us to do it. And, especially just, it's such a struggle for a lot of people with what's going on. And I mean, you look at like just the mental health where everything is at, and there's, suicide rates have been up since this all started. And,
oh yeah. Yeah.
So I think, that was a big push for us too, it's like, writing those new songs in 2020 with the perspective of everything going on. And, we just want to help people. We hope that the record will bring some hope to people, that might be in that kind of situation where, their mental health isn't at its best. So, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully this album can help somebody in their darkest hours. That's for sure, because like I've said this many, many times on this podcast, that music is therapy. Music is a drug. Music is your escape. It's your voice. It's everything that it can be for you if you just let it, and then just let it work for you. That's all I say, So
absolutely.
Does Brian allow you guys to give your own opinions on the way you want songs to go? Or does he have a mindset to say, okay, no, I want it to go this way? How much collaboration do you guys work on this together in the studio?
This was 100% a collaboration, this record. The first record, it was as well, but I would say not as much. I was, what was it, like 17 or 18, when we were writing the first record and stuff. And I had never really written much before, so I didn't write as much on that record. I did write a couple things that made it, but it was mostly, Brian and Jason, doing stuff, and a couple outside writers as well. But this time around with this new record, it was, Brian, myself, Jason, our drummer Isaiah, our producer Joe Rickard, and then we had a couple other people. Keith Wallen, he plays guitar in Breaking Benjamin as well with Jason, and fantastic songwriter, amazing vocalist, like dude, and he was one of the main writers that wrote with us on this record as well. And then we had a friend of ours named Tom Hain, who used to play drums for the band In This Moment, and he is like a full-time like producer writer now, and so we worked with him on a couple songs as well. But yeah, just total collaboration. Like, I mean, all of us were throwing lyrics around, all of us were throwing guitar riffs around, song structure ideas, you name it. It was totally 100% a collaboration between all of us. So
do you hope the rest of the albums go like this, to have your guys' input on it? I mean, it's good to have one main focus, of course, but I mean, did you like this versus to where you came in, at 17 and 18 on the first album?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it was really cool because you can do only so much yourself. It's like, it's really cool when you can bounce ideas off of other people and they can make things better. It's like, it's almost like the saying, you can't do life alone. You do it with people, because you can only do so much on your own. And I think that applies to music too, and I think everyone bringing their own influences into the record and the band as a whole, I think it makes it what it is, because I think if just one person wrote everything, it would be totally obvious, so I think mixing everyone in the pot, and kind of everyone throwing ideas in and writing together, I think that's what makes it unique and what makes it a band. And yeah, so I would totally love to do it like this again. And I think that is the plan. If we keep going forward after this record and keep writing and stuff, I think we'd probably do it exactly like we did this time around. So,
I mean, even though you guys have got some heavy hitters in this band, especially Brian from Corny, and you've got Breaking Benjamin guys in this band as well, do you see a tremendous amount of growth from that first album to this album?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the band as a whole, I think, is stronger. I think the songwriting is at another level. I think it's a lot more mature, and we've really defined our sound more. And I think the production of the new record as well is another step up from the first record. Yeah, I think all around, it's just a new level for us as a band. And yeah, I'm stoked on it, because the first record was amazing and I loved it. I'm really proud of what we did with that record. And, when you're a band and you do your first record, going into okay, now we're going to do a second one. And with the first one, getting such good praise and everything about it, it's all right. So it's not a good mindset to have, but sometimes it creeps in of okay, now we got to top this first record. How do we do that? It's
yeah.
It's a scary thing. So I think, trying to put that thought aside and just saying, you know what, let's not focus on that. Let's just focus on writing good songs and music that we like. If the band isn't excited about it, then, why would we put it out, So I think it was capturing what we all love and we wanted to hear, in the new music.
Exactly, man. If you can't stand behind your music, and trust me, fans can hear it in those songs when you put that album out. If you can't stand behind that, we can't stand behind it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, there's no effort in it.
Yeah, totally. It's like why, it's almost like why preach something that you don't even believe in?
Yeah.
You can look at it that way,
Yeah.
And I mean, again, with all of us contributing to this new record and stuff, I feel like, really we all put a piece of ourselves into this. And that's why I think that's why this album is so special to us. And I hope people can hear that and feel that when they listen to it as well.
Any tracks standing out more to you than any right now on the album? I know it must change every time you guys listen to it and every time you talk about it. I know these are your babies. Trust me, I know. But are they any specifically for you, JR, that stick out possibly?
Yeah, like you said, it's every time I've listened to the record, I feel like it changes, but I think if I had a top three that always stick out to me, it would probably be Death of Us, Slow Fire, and probably Affliction. I think those are the top three for me. I think, as far as with Slow Fire, I think that song to me is very reminiscent of the first record and kind of our sound from that. And it kind of has that vibe of the first record. Like, I feel like it could have ended up being on the first record. And so that's cool because it's kind of like a nostalgic feel to me. Because, the new record is obviously our sound, but it's not exactly like the first record, I would say. But that song to me makes me feel like I'm listening to the first record, kind of, in a way.
But it's got that Love and Death-esque to it, sound to it, because it's still there. It's still Love and Death. It's still got your all's sound, if that makes sense as well. Yeah,
totally. Yep. And that's all throughout the record. I think just for some reason on Slow Fire, I think it's even more apparent, it like really stands out. And maybe that's just, because of the parts and stuff, the way the song is. But yeah. And then like, Death of Us is, man, one of my favorites too. Like the chorus on it is just huge and the riff is so fun. And yeah, it's kind of like a mixture of, the old sound and the new, and which I really love. And Brian and I are like huge fans of mixing melody and like heavy stuff, and just having that tension going back and forth. And I think that song really pulls that off really well, that tension. And so that's like one of my favorites as well. And then Affliction is so cool. And I think it shows a different side of us because it still has that sound, but it has this weird, like, I mean, when we were writing it, I had envisioned like a weird, spooky, like Tim Burton, like kind of like Nightmare Before Christmas kind of vibe, and it has these like haunting, like vocal harmonies in the background. And it's just like, it's kind of like a roller coaster, but like in the best way. And it really has that tension of like the melodic soft vocals with the heavy, just crazy screaming stuff and everything. So, I think if anything, that song mostly shows that. And so I really think people are going to love that song. And, yeah.
So creating your guitar riffs on each of these songs, does it still challenge or even push you harder? Has it always done that for you? Yeah,
I would say, I think it did challenge me more because with this record, Brian gave me more, free rein to do my thing. I had, again, when we did the first record, I was brand new to writing everything and had a couple things make it, and then throughout the years since then, I've been in a couple other bands and have written, I've kind of, learned and created my sound per se. And so coming into this, Brian really wanted me to step up and just write more and mainly be the main writer for all the guitar stuff and everything. And, so that was, a little scary. I was like, all right, I guess this is my thing, I'm going to take this up and do my best, and not to say, he did do some stuff too, but he definitely made it more of a thing where I could take control and like make it my own and but he definitely like, you know, we would go back and forth on riffs and like, you know, he'd have ideas to change certain parts or the structure of stuff. And the same thing with Jason too, because Jason is an incredible writer and comes up with some really cool riffs as well. And he wrote some stuff too. But they really let me have control. So I think that in itself was what was most challenging, is like taking that role on, you know, and being like the main person to do all that. But I think I've had two of the best people to learn from, you know, Brian and Jason over the years. And so with their help and stuff too, you know, I think we really came up with some really cool riffs and stuff. And I think we tried to challenge ourselves too, you know, with writing it, because again, like that first record, the riffs are awesome, you know, and love them. And so it's like, all right, again, not to have that mindset, but like it needs to be just as good as the first record, you know, so we need to like make this thing slamming. Yeah, we experimented, you know, with like, even like doing a lot of like the whammy pedal stuff and some of the riffs and everything. And like, you can hear that on Down, you know, when the riff comes, it's like, you're doing a lot of that kind of stuff and incorporating that. So, but yeah.
Was there a song that you guys are working on when coming into this that totally ended up sounding different or took a major turn from where it began to what you guys wanted it to be, but it kind of just wrote itself? I
think that would probably be Affliction, and I would say Affliction and Slow Fire. I think that had the most changes. You know, we kept a lot of elements that were originally written, but we also reworked, you know, those songs a lot, like parts and stuff, and trying to figure out what felt right, you know, because you can like write stuff and then listen back. It's like something about the structure of the song doesn't feel right, or maybe like a certain part isn't hitting the right way like it's supposed to, and you're just not feeling it. And I think with Slow Fire, the chorus was the big one that we were working on. You know, we kind of had all the other parts in place. It was just like, okay, this song is slamming, and then when we get to the chorus, it's like it felt like it was lacking, you know. So I think the biggest thing for that song was getting a chorus that just like hit hard and did what it needed to do to finish the song and make it what it is. And for Affliction too, you know, I think that one was tricky because again, it's got that weird like creepy vibe that we put to it, that Tim Burton-esque sound, and you know, we originally had like this crazy riff for that song with like the whammy pedal and stuff, but for some reason it just wasn't like fitting with the rest of the song, and we ended up just straight up scrapping the riff, and there's like no main riff of the song. So yeah, just stuff like that. And I think White Flag too, you know, maybe not so much as like guitar parts or anything, but more of like vocal parts and like the structure of the song. It was a little tricky to piece that together. That was the last song that got finished for the record. We were like right up till the deadline of needing to get stuff done, and we were still going back and forth on like, okay, maybe we should do this here instead. You know, the structure feels kind of funky. Like, you know, where do we put this vocal or that vocal? And so that one was tricky as well. So I think those three songs probably had the most changes overall.
So correct me if I'm wrong. So Jason Rauch has produced 11 Death's first album in 2013, and now he's co-produced with Joe Rickard on this new album. Working with these guys, man, do they get that extra push out of you all, possibly? And I mean, I know Jason does his own thing as far as musical wise, but do they get that extra push from you all, possibly?
I think so, yeah. I know, you know, throughout the years, it was mainly Jason that I was working with, you know, writing songs and stuff. You know, and then when we made the decision to have him be actually part of the band, you know, we also didn't want the full weight of having to be the producer and writing bass player and stuff. And so we were thinking, you know, maybe we have someone else come in and kind of co-produce to lighten the load per se, you know, and to also get some other input, you know, because I think when you're a part of like songs and stuff for so long, you get used to them and you love them. And then like, you don't have any outside like people listening and telling you if it's actually good or not, you know? So I think it was also like bringing Joe in And he was a major part of why we ended up writing 5 more songs in 2020, because we were sifting through everything. And I remember he called me one night and he was like, these songs are good, but I really think we could do better and we could really just destroy these songs that you already have. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I agree. I said, I'm totally down to try it, And so he was a big reason why we wrote, the songs we ended up writing in 2020 was almost like the whole first half of the record. Infamy, Tragedy, Down, and Death of Us. Those are the new ones that we wrote. And, they're slamming, and I think we beat what we originally had. And it was good to have a fresh perspective, someone listening to what we originally had and like, okay, this is okay, but I know you guys can do better, So yeah, I think definitely having a fresh pair of ears, listening to what we had, definitely pushed us to do something greater than what we originally thought we had. And, cause you write songs and they become almost like your babies, and like, I know Brian has been saying, he had a couple songs that he really wanted to keep, but Joe was like, I know you love him so much, but like he knew like if we wrote something a little better, it would be totally worth it, and Brian was like, okay, and he looks back now and he's like, I'm glad that, Joe pushed me to like trust him and do that, So yeah.
So how was working with Lacey Sturm, Keith Wallen, and Ryan Hayes, man, on Let Me Love You, The Hunter, which is a new single from you guys, and White Flag. Let's talk about that a minute. How great was working with these folks?
Yeah, man, it's so awesome. Again, like that whole thing we're talking about, the collaboration side of things, and getting to work with other artists and stuff. And they're so talented, it's just really cool to like be a part of something with them. And, like I mentioned, Keith was a pretty big factor in the writing of this record. He wrote on pretty much everything with us. It's mostly like lyric and melody wise kind of thing. And, working with Lacey too was really cool because we were trying to figure out, having a guest vocal on the cover that we did, Let Me Love You. And we're trying to figure out, like who would be really cool to have on this, and just kind of like out of left field almost. And we were like, it'd be really rad if Lacey did something. And, Brian has known her for a really long time and has always wanted to like collab on something with her. So we hit her up and she was totally down to do it. She said that the song kind of had its own personal meaning to her that meant a lot. And so she was really excited to like be a part of it, which is cool. And then having Ryan Hayes on White Flag was awesome. He's in a band called Righteous Vendetta, and awesome band. And our drummer, Isaiah, actually used to be in that band like years ago. So it was kind of cool having that connection, and he wrote his own part on the song and everything and absolutely killed it. We loved it. It was so cool. So yeah, overall, again, just being able to branch out and like work with like friends of ours, that are in bands, and just getting to do that has been really cool.
Who did the amazing artwork for this album for you guys?
Yes, the artwork is cool, huh? I really like it.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a guy named Kevin Moore. He did the artwork for it, and he did a great job too. I love how it came out, and we started working with him back in, I think, 2018 or 2019. Brian and I had kind of started working with him and going back and forth with ideas, for kind of the vibe of the record, what it was looking like and stuff. And we originally were going with the title White Flag, and we had a whole cover and everything for it. But then in 2020, when we were like basically finishing up the record, trying to hit the deadline to get it done, we had gotten a song idea from Keith, and props to him. He wrote the lyrics and the chord progression and everything, and absolutely killed it. But it's the first song on the record called Infamy. And in there, there's a lyric that says, perfectly preserved, follow you to the unknown. And I remember when I first heard that, I was like, that is so cool. you know, and Brian loved it. And he was like, that has to be the name of the record. He was like, that is so awesome. And so we hit up Kevin and we were like, hey, we know we have this whole thing done, but we really feel like we should go back and use this instead. And when we told him, he was all about it. And he was like, this is awesome. I could totally do something really cool with this. And yeah, that's where we have the jar with, I think it's a girl in the jar. I'm not sure. It's a person. But yeah, it's just, it's kind of like, it's cool because it's kind of like something you wouldn't expect to see, you know, which is kind of what we wanted. We wanted it to be kind of like, what in the world is this, you know? And then also with like, just like the color of the record too, you know, we wanted it to be a lot brighter, like purposefully. Like a lot of rock stuff is, you know, usually dark and stuff. And so we kind of wanted it to stand out amongst the rest and like make it like lighter kind of colors and stuff. So, but yeah, that's kind of where it all came from and where it ended up. So
what do you hope everyone takes away, or message you hope they hear while listening to this new album or any of Love and Death's music in general? JR, what do you hope that they get from it, man?
You know, I truly hope that this record will just bring people hope, you know, again, with, you know, with everything going on in the world right now. I think that was our mindset going into this, you know, and we just wanted to help people. You know, we hope the lyrics will speak to people and meet them where they're at, you know, with whatever they're going through, and they can relate. And just knowing, you know, it's like the cliche thing, but, you know, knowing that they're not alone, you know, we're all going through this together. And again, like I was saying earlier, you know, like just the mental health issue has just been crazy, especially during the pandemic, and the suicide rates have been skyrocketing, sadly, you know. So if this record could like show up on someone's phone or whatever and they hear it and it could help them with what they're dealing with, and if it could save one person's life, you know, it's all worth it. So that's what I truly hope this record does.
Now, I know when you were younger, and maybe even today still, I know you had a lot of music and a lot of albums, but did you have that go-to album or song that just allowed you to escape or just gave you inspiration or hope? Do you still have that today, possibly, man? I mean, was there anything like that, album-wise or song-wise, that just said, yeah, man, that's my go-to? You
know, I had listened to quite a bit of stuff, you know, back, I mean, when I was first touring and even before that, you know, I grew up in a Christian home, you know, so I didn't really know a lot of secular music, you know, but I definitely, you know, since touring and stuff, have jumped into stuff more and have discovered a lot of different music. But I would say one of the first bands I was listening to when I was starting to play guitar and stuff, it was a band called Pillar. And, you know, I loved their guitar riffs and stuff, and it really inspired me to start playing guitar. And but the lyrics too were really cool, you know. I mean, they had songs, you know, called like "Bring Me Down," you know. It was like "You Can't Bring Me Down," you know, and the lyrics behind that, and just a lot of, you know, themes that us in Love and Death talk about too, you know, kind of like, you know, just struggles, you know, like being transparent with people and talking about struggles that we face, you know, and everything isn't just fairy tale life and like, you know, poop butterflies and whatever, you know. It's like, you know, we all struggle with the same kind of stuff, you know, and that's like it's like the best way I could describe it, you know.
I just pooped a butterfly out.
But yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think, you know, stuff like that I really like to listen to as a kid, you know, because it you know, it met me where I was at in my life, you know, and I could relate with the lyrics and stuff, and it gave me hope, you know. So it's just cool to now like see, you know, myself, I was listening to stuff like that, and now I'm able to create and make music that people enjoy, and I can do the same thing. You know, I can hopefully create something that people enjoy and also find a truly like hopeful message from, and something that could help them where they're at in their life right now. So just to see where I was to where I am now and how I'm able to do that, it's seriously an honor and like a blessing that I'm able to do that. So
yeah, and I've kind of kept up with you too since the first time I had you on here, and I'm really impressed on. I'm not trying to make your head swell or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, I'm really impressed of how your guitar playing has grown. I should say you've stepped up a lot, and I'm not knocking you as a guitarist or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying you have tremendously went above and beyond, I should say. So kudos for you, man.
Hey, I seriously appreciate that. I know you said you're not trying to, make my head blow up or anything, but seriously, I do appreciate that. That's awesome. It's like just to hear that people see the growth and stuff, that's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, if you sit down and you go to the first album and compare the songs on this one and your other stuff that you done in your other band, it's like night and day compared, man, honestly. But it's good. It's all good though. But you can see your technique. I have this saying that, when you hear a song or something, and who's playing guitar at the time, if that makes sense, because when Zakk Wylde's playing, when Kirk Hammett's playing, when Jimi Hendrix is playing, or Eddie Van Halen, when these guys are playing, and you've got some niches in there too, man. I hear some stuff and I'm like, that's JR, and I'm not saying that or making this up. This is God's honest truth, because I've heard some music and I turn around and it's like, that sounds like JR playing from Love and Death. Sure enough, I go find out what the band is and what's going on. You're playing. It was you guys. Not specifically Love and Death, but just, other stuff you're in. I'm like, that's amazing, because I'm telling you, man, you've really grown as a guitarist. So keep it up and keep putting that time into this. Yeah,
seriously, thank you. Like, that's such a big thing, because like you said, like so many guys have their sound, and when you hear it, and like for me, it's scary because like, I do draw a lot of influence from, writing over the years with Brian and Jason, and so to hear that, like, I've been able to, like, take that and turn it kind of into my own thing and my own sound, and people can hear that, that's so cool. So seriously, I really appreciate that.
You're very welcome, sir. Folks, get out and pick up Love and Death's new album, Perfectly Preserved, which will be released Friday, February the 12th. You want to pick that album up and give these guys a chance. Also, pick up their first album too. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed in this band whatsoever. And if you are, then I feel for you. I really do. I mean, you like your own cup of tea of what you like, but just open up your eyes and ears and give these guys a chance. I mean, just because Brian's in Korn, he does some other stuff, and I mean, he's a phenomenal musician. So give these guys a chance. So, JR, man, how could folks stay in touch with you guys, buy some merchandise, this new album, and God, hopefully we get back to some normalcy either end of this year or next year, on touring, things like that. How can they do that, sir?
Yeah, you can go to our website. It is loveanddeathmusic.com. And when you go there, there's a bunch of different links, depending on where you are. There's merchandise for, people in the U.S. There's merchandise for people overseas kind of thing. And also on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's all Love and Death. And, the new record's coming out this Friday, February 12th. And the same day we're having the live stream show later that night. And get a ticket at our website and grab the album, and I hope everyone enjoys it.
Before I let you go, sir, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, this is JR from Love and Death, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Hour Podcast. Please get out and pick up Love and Death's new album, Perfectly Preserved, out Friday, February 12th. Also pick up tickets to watch the live stream. That'll be out later that night. Do not sleep on this band, folks. Please give them just a fair shot. Give them a fair shot. I'm 1,000% sure all you guys and gals will love them. So pick that up and give them a fair chance. JR, my man, thank you for being on the show. I tremendously appreciate it. And as a fan of your guys' music, thank you all for putting out another album, man.
Dude, yeah, seriously, thank you so much for having me. And, thanks for using your platform to help us, push the record and everything. Like, we couldn't do this without you guys, helping us do that. So we appreciate you and everything you do for all the bands out there. So thank you.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.